Welcome everyone to the Mike Martin Podcast. Like, click, subscribe, and hey! Oh man! Once again, we've got a goodie! Do-do-do-do. Anyways, how's everyone doing today?
Today was a good day! You know.
Hopefully good. And if not, let's change that attitude. Let's turn that frown upside down.
You've just got to turn that frown upside down.
Anyways, okay. On a serious note, holy Tucker Carlson. He said some stuff that has been very accurate, and he said some other things that have been very questionable.
Yes! Because not only do you shout out the...
Speaking of questionable, everybody, who is behind this Epstein list? I think Tucker thinks he has the answer. So let's take a look.
I mean, the guy was some weird sex freak who was abusing girls. We knew that. But the fact that the U.S. government, the one that I voted for, refused to take my question seriously and instead said, case closed, shut up, conspiracy theorist, was too much for me. And I don't think the rest of us should be satisfied with that. And by the way, I don't care who gives that answer. That is not acceptable. And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever...
He's a hell of a drug.
Direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into...
What?
Where people feel like they can't just say, like, what the hell is this? You have the former Israeli prime minister living in your house. You have had all this contact with the foreign government. Were you working on behalf of Mossad? Were you running a blackmail operation on behalf of a foreign government? By the way, every single person in Washington, D.C. thinks that. I've never met anyone who doesn't think that.
Bitch, I'll never forgive you for this.
And I think our answer should be, no. As long as we're sending you money, if you were committing crimes on our soil, we have an absolute right to know, did you do this or not? And yet everybody has been so brainwashed, baseline question that every U.S. citizen has a right to an answer on. What the hell was this? And by the way, if it turns out that it was nothing at all, that somehow Jeffrey Epstein really did earn $165 million giving tax advice to somebody, which is, for the record, a lot more than most people pay their accountants.
Yeah, but there's no space. So if you could just go ahead and pack up your stuff and move it down there.
Bill Gates was just hanging on the island because the weather was especially good. No one was videotaped doing anything immoral or illegal, and then that was used against them to get them to obey. If all of that is false, then just tell me how it's false. Call me a lunatic. And when Fox News runs a piece, as they did yesterday by Hugh Hewitt, saying that anybody who's got even more questions about Epstein is some kind of nutcase with an unhappy personal life, who's spending too much time on Twitter in the fervid fever swamps of conspiracies, up yours, buddy. Then why don't you answer the question then?
On the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based on the physician-patient privilege and reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I am not a lawyer, and I must follow my lawyer's advice in this matter.
A legitimate answer, a reasonable answer, a sincere answer, a good faith answer. We may disagree. Qatar! That's the most hilarious. Qatar is kind of controlling our conversation. Qatar, evil Qatar. I am laughing. I've actually been to Qatar. It's awesome. Never, bet against companies by driving down their stock prices. That's what he's been accused of. I'm not accusing him here because he'd sue me if I do. I'm just suggesting others believe that might have happened. He's already threatened to sue me for saying that. But there are plenty of people who do that. feels free to say that. Nobody feels like you can just say like 30% on a credit card. Why is anybody paying a credit card bill? I said to somebody recently, I feel like I'm very moderate and sensible, but I don't know. It kind of feels like you're feeding me appetizers. At some point, I want to look around and see a better country. I want to see a country I recognize. I don't want to see people sleeping on the sidewalk. I don't want to see people ODing on drugs. I want to know where those drugs coming from. Why can't you stop it? You've got the U.S. military. Don't you have SEAL Team 6? Like, what are they doing today? Don't you have Delta Force? You could give me another segment about how impressive the U.S. military is? I believe you. Don't you have Delta Force? You could give me... Why aren't they employed to make my country better? Why are my cities disgusting? I don't want to go there. It smells like weed and halal food. And
weed is getting stronger every 2 weeks.
I'm glad. But let's do and create an economy where my kids can have kids. How about this? How about we just make the measure really super simple? Can my children have without the benefit of like the great luck I have had, can they have a roughly approximate life that I had? Or how about just a middle class life? Can they like get married young as I did and like have 4 kids and, you know, take a couple jobs, work hard and all that stuff? But in the end, it's like, fine. Can they do that? Or is that like so remote a possibility that you need to tell me that Iran is the real threat? Take my mind off the fact that you stole all the money and screwed up my country beyond recognition.
Whoa. Okay, so the Mossad is more powerful than the CIA. That's very plausible. But wow, Israel? Really? And Epstein? But you know what? That's a good point that he made. Who has the prime minister living in the house? And how do you go from being a Joe Blow like me
Terrible at keeping house. He even called a divorce lawyer.
me to owning islands? I want to see your tax returns. And
I said I would, but the way my bank account is set up, the thing is, I got a checking in the savings, but all the money is in my savings.
well, I want to know your thoughts because this one's gonna get hairy. And I'm telling you right now, there's way more to come, and it is going to make our heads spitting. Anyways, like, click, subscribe, share, and remember, button your pants. You could be embarrassed.
It's time to cash out. You lied to America, now it's time for us to shout. And the right was wrong, time to get gone.
We have the same expectation.
We all did. And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents.
I'm in charge of access to it. If I have it.
Right.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So